Hey everyone, I'm Liu Xiaoke, PhD student from City University of Hong Kong, and today I'm going to share our paper, Salt is the Soul of Hakka Baked Chicken, Reimagine Traditional Chinese Culinary SH for Modern Contexts Without Losing Tradition. Chinese cuisine is deeply rooted in culture, with a history that spans thousands of years. These dishes don't just carry flavors, but they also carry stories, memories, and the local cultures. And today, they are also recognized as part of our intangible cultural heritage. Food culture was added to UNESCO annually updated SH list in 2010. By 2024, nearly 40 culinary traditions from worldwide had been officially recognized, but none of them were Chinese cuisine, at least not until very recently. Well, Japan's Washoku was inscribed in 2013, and the Korean's kimchi culture followed in 2015. China had no culinary entry until 2022, and that was even not food, but traditional tea processing techniques. Even though hundreds of Chinese traditional dishes could qualify as ICH, no actual Chinese cuisine has been recognized internationally. This gap really pushed us to ask what's holding Chinese food back on the global SH stage. So, what caused that delay? It's not that Chinese food isn't valuable, but according to related work research, we observed that many Chinese SH chefs tend to emphasize culture and traditional authenticity over innovation. Chinese cuisines are not actually unchanging, but the emphasis can create a stereotype that Chinese cuisine is static. In HCI and HFI, human food interaction fields, GenAI is increasingly using to co-create with people, whether it's for reimagining cultural heritage or crafting new food design recipes. So we asked, what if GenAI could support traditional Chinese chefs in rethinking their food heritage in their own way? To explore the question, we designed and conducted individual workshops. We recruited 15 chefs and home cooks with at least 6 years of experience in Chinese traditional cuisine. Each brought their own dish for workshop. Our workshop was designed to follow four stages. First, we begin with an interview and a guided discussion. Then they were asked to prepare the dish using their traditional method, just as they normally would. After the cooking, we move into the co-creation phase with the GenAI, which was the most important part. Participants were invited to use GenAI tools to generate new recipe ideas and for image. Finally, we conducted a follow-up interview. Participants reflected on the GenAI outputs, what inspired them, what didn't feel right, and how they might adapt the AI-generated ideas. Some even cooked a new version of the dish based on the GenAI suggestions, and we documented those too. Then we got some findings from the workshop process. First was the innovation. Some chefs used GenAI to reimagine their dishes with new styles. For example, the Hakka salt baked chicken in our paper title was redesigned as a party version with crispy skin, something made more visually attractive for younger generations. Another fun example comes from clay pot rice, which was already a flexible format with topping layered on rice. But during the workshop, participating chef and GenAI began imagining more adventurous topping combinations. You can see the version added fruit and Thai coconut chicken, and some with fairy tale style you will never see in a traditional clay pot restaurant. But they may open up new ways to introduce this SH dish to younger international audiences. Many participants were also interested in making traditional dish healthier. There was a stereotype that traditional Chinese dishes are often rich and heavy, but not many people tended to have low fat or more balanced meal. For example, Hakka salt baked chicken again on the slide. The chef worked on a low fat version as well. GenAI suggested alternative ingredients and cooking methods to reduce oil and fat. Another case comes from participant 7, who prepared Liu Yang steamed pork ribs. After cooking the original version, she used GenAI to explore a more health-conscious redesign. GenAI suggested eating vegetables for color and balance, and also as a part of nutritional set meal. She liked these ideas, that she actually cooked a new version at the end. You can see the original dish on the left, the AI generated, and her final reinterpretation on the right. We also saw innovation with Yu Xiang shredded pork. or we also call it yuxiangrou in Chinese. This is a very classic dish known for its strong sweet, sour, and spice flavor. The participant reimagine it as a cold appetizer version, lower in oil and calories, and perfect for people like who are on their diet. Fusion was another popular path for the participants. Some participants explore fusing Chinese cuisine with Southeast Asian traditions, which felt very natural to them. These cultures share regional proximity, so the ingredients and the cooking styles are not too far away from each other. So the chef it was feasible, and the results were quite similar. But some also combine with Western culinary traditions. One particularly creative case comes from participant 11, who merged Shanxi oil spell noodles with elements of Italian pasta. The fusion of those two totally different food systems created something unique and honestly very fun to look at, right? After seeing these results, many participants expressed a real ongoing willingness to keep working with GenAI in the future, not just for one-off ideas, but to really recreate improve their recipes in a long-term way. Participant 11, the chef of the Shanxiao spell noodles we just mentioned, shared that she wants to go further, not only blending with Italian traditions, but also adapting her dish into a customizable format, like Yunnan's famous crossing the bridge noodles, 过桥米线. She envisioned like customers could pick their own veggies and toppings to personalize each bowl of the noodles. Another example is from participants 12, who was working on winter noodles. Gentiva inspired him not only could change the fillings and the soup, but he could also explore branding the dish as an SH product. He started thinking about how to position the food culturally, maybe with Gentiva in the future. And of course, not everything was smooth. There were some challenges, especially in terms of cultural alignment and feasibility. Uh, Take the case of Hakka style stewed tofu. The participant first prepared the original dish, then used GenAI to generate a new version. The AI suggested a beautiful garden style plating, but it included a mini tomato, which is not commonly used in traditional Chinese tofu dishes. The participant felt that was off, but he appreciated the visual suggestion and accepted to eat purple cabbage. He eventually cooked a revised version, which you can see on the slide, the original on the left and Gentile's output in the middle, and his final reinterpretation on the right with the purple elements. It's a great example of negotiating between original recipe and the suggestion, which also reflected the cultural barriers from generative AI the participants can't accept. Another issue was practical feasibility. Also, the Yuxiang Xuanpo case. Will the practitioner satisfy the low-fat cold dish version? The generative AI also proposed another fusion version recipe, that Yuxiang Xuanpo burger. But the chef quickly pointed out that yuxiang poke is a loose stir fry, not suitable for a burger filling. It just wouldn't hold together. So he finally decided to do the cold dish version rather than this one. So while Gentiva can inspire new ideas, not all of them make sense in a real kitchen. That tension between the creative imagination and the practical reality is one we saw through the co-creation process. The most important concern we heard from participants was about how to balance innovation with tradition. Chefs were generally open to adjusting the look of a dish, adding vegetables and changing platings. Like we can see the example, Liu Yang steamed pork ribs and Hakka stuffed tofu. But what they couldn't accept was any change that influenced the flavor too much. But why did some generative outputs work? For example, in the Yuxiangpo case, the reason both burger and cooked dish versions were acceptable for the participants was because the AI kept the correct flavor balance. Like the 2 spoons of sugar, 2 spoons of vinegar, 1 spoon of soy sauce. That told the participants, okay, this still tastes like the real dish. So, what do we take away from the study? First, practitioners need a deep understanding of SH, not just techniques, but the cultural stories and flavor identities behind each dish. That's what helps them decide what can evolve and what must stay. Second, GenAI should not just document heritage, it should support its evolution. We can use GenAI to maintain cultural identity while exploring new expression, which can balancing the sustainability and innovation. Looking forward, there are a few things we believe can make this kind of research and collaboration even stronger. First, we should train GenAI models with more culturally diverse and context aware data that will help reduce the cultural bias and improve recipe feasibility. Then we should explore ways to integrate sensory data, especially taste and smell, into the co-creation process. These are important for culinary. And we need a structured taste testing, inviting professional testers or diverse public panels to assess whether the new dishes are acceptable and delicious. And finally, we should collaborate with SH scholars, culinary historians, and heritage institutions to evaluate whether the innovations truly respect and preserve the cultural values. Our research also inspired an art exhibition and a book. We even 3D printed some of the dishes. You are welcome to scan the QR code to explore more about it if you are interested. If you'd like to know more about the project, please check out our full paper. If you're curious about our other work, you can follow our studio for Narrative Spaces. Thank you so much for listening.